Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about 71 Fragments of a Chronology of Chance, and I'm just going to call it 71 Fragments. And this movie came out in 1994 and is directed by Michel Haneke, and he's made plenty of great movies over the years, and I thought this one was great. I didn't connect with it as well as some of his other films, most notably his later films, but I do think I like it a bit better than The Seventh Continent, maybe better than Benny's Video, possibly. But I would need to rewatch all of his movies to really know the answer to that. But like all of his movies, the film is shot beautifully, and you can really tell there's a lot of effort put into the visuals. And there's lots of details to pick up on from each shot and each choice that's made in this movie. And I also love the lack of a musical score in this film. I thought that added to the atmosphere of the film, and you were able to just enjoy what these characters were going through and what you were being shown and what you're following. All that I thought was done so very well, and I was getting a little worried going into this movie because with the title being 71 Fragments, I was thinking, is that going to be like 71 different characters like intertwined into a big story? And luckily it wasn't 71 characters that we were focusing on, like something like Crash or something like that. But there's plenty of characters in this movie that you do focus on a lot, and I felt as though the movie did a good job at giving you enough to get an understanding of who these characters are and what they're going through, and just kind of understand them as human beings and where they're at in their lives. And I will say I do have my favorite characters, and some characters I like better than others. Not in the sense that, like, yeah, I relate to these characters or they're likable characters or anything like that. As in, I was able to enjoy seeing them on screen, and some I enjoyed seeing on screen more than others. Like, some characters I just feel as though were a little bit more dull in a sense, but most of the characters I do like. And I also didn't feel the runtime too much. There were points where I was feeling, okay, is this wrapping up soon? And eventually I had to check how much time I had left. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't like a 1 minute would go by and it was only like 30 seconds, and it was like a double ratio every time. It was nowhere near like that. This is a slower paced movie like all of his films, and you are going to have to be patient, and it's all pretty much building up to the end. And I thought the ending was great, although I do have my own problems with it. Just like little tiny things that I felt could have been improved on, or just not shown at all. And I wouldn't say this is a perfect movie, but I will say this was a film that did kind of rely on the ending and it being like a huge payoff and almost kind of shocking. And I did find it effective, although there were some moments where I felt as though there was some room for improvement. But still, I thought it was great, and I thought it worked overall, and I did like the lack of dialogue that was present throughout the film. There's not a whole lot of dialogue, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be very dialogue heavy or something, but there was a lot less dialogue in this movie than I thought there would be, and I do kind of like that about the movie, especially in the first half, I feel. Most notably with the one boy character, I thought there was like barely any dialogue, and I felt as though that was beneficial to the film because he didn't need a lot of dialogue. You could just see a few seconds with him on screen and get an understanding of what he's going through or what he's doing, and you just put two and two together, and there you go. You're all caught up. There's plenty of ideas sprinkled throughout this movie that I love, most notably with certain characters and certain character moments. And there are characters in this movie, without spoiling anything, that just show up and leave, and you never see them again, which I think is great. And it just kind of adds a lot to what this movie is trying to get at. And there was one technique that was used in The Seventh Continent that was kind of done in this movie as well, where we didn't see characters' faces at times. I thought that was kind of cool. Like either it was just completely out of frame or all we got was just a backhead shot, basically. Like their face was nowhere in frame and you couldn't see their face at all. And it just goes to highlight how cold and distant some characters are in his films, and that was a cool way of showing that to me. But in terms of issues that I have with this film, I've gone over them already mostly, and my biggest issue is just some characters and scenes that I can just do without. Like, I don't really feel as though everything that was in this movie needed to be there. I do feel as though this movie could have probably have been 10 minutes shorter, and I think it would have worked a lot better. My favorite scene in this movie was the old man on the phone. I thought that was a really great scene, and it goes on for a long time, but I do feel as though there were lots of things to take away from that scene, and it's definitely the most memorable part of the movie for me when it comes to dialogue scenes. And this movie, like I said earlier, just kind of builds towards the third act and just having a big payoff. And in the first 30 minutes, I was like, there's no plot really. And it's all kind of just building to the end, which great build up and a really great payoff. And I liked this type of structure, and I thought it was done better in this movie than in The Seventh Continent, even though I do give them the same ratings. But still, I do love what this movie is doing, and a lot of the things that I appreciate about Michelle Haneke's films are found in this movie. It's just, I do have movies from him that I just prefer. So check this movie out whenever you get the chance. I would definitely recommend it. And with all that being said, I'm going to give 71 Fragments an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts of 71 Fragments and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for The Man with the Golden Gun. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.